It's a pleasant weather. Monsoons have started. So, students of class 8th, welcome to another part of chapter Ecosystems. We are going to discuss abiotic components of ecosystem today. As all of you are familiar with, abiotic components are the non-living part of the ecosystem. They include inorganic and organic substances. Inorganic substances like minerals, metals and non-metals found in the soil, and organic compounds like fats, proteins, carbohydrates found in all living organisms. But the most important of the abiotic factors which decide the type of living creatures in a habitat are climatic and edaphic factors. The climatic factors which we will discuss and learn about today is air, water, light, temperature and humidity. The edaphic factors which we will study is about soil and topography. So let's first study the climatic factors. Air. Air, as you know, is an important component of our Earth's atmosphere, a thin layer of air surrounding the Earth. It is inexhaustible, essential for all human beings. Every day, a person can take about 250 kgs of air every day. We need air for respiration as well as plants. And plants also need air to take up carbon dioxide in the process of photosynthesis, which helps us to get food and gives off oxygen as a byproduct. Then carbon dioxide is also produced when we respire, we burn fuels, and when organisms decay. The cycling of carbon dioxide and oxygen between biotic and abiotic components maintains balance in nature of both oxygen and carbon dioxide gases. But due to man's interruption, like too much use of fossil fuels in vehicles and factories and cutting down of trees, carbon dioxide has increased in air beyond 0.03%, and this has led to it absorbing more heat. It's a greenhouse gas. It absorbs heat and keeps us warm during night time. But due to excess of carbon dioxide, the Earth's temperature are rising, called as global warming. The atmospheric air also acts as a protective blanket for our Earth as it absorbs the harmful UV radiations, ultraviolet radiations coming from the sun. So air is very much important for all of us. Next factor is wind. Air in motion is called as wind. Wind affects plants and animals, especially plants, because their rate of transpiration increases when there is a wind current flowing. Even their growth is affected by wind. Strong, violent winds may cause them to uproot or turn their leaves into tiny sections, making them serrated, as in palm trees. Then winds help plants to disperse their seeds and fruits, carry out wind pollination. Wind also helps in dispersal of pollutants. It carries away smoke and other harmful factors away. If there is no wind, smoke stays in the atmospheric layers, and especially in winters with fog, it will form smog, which makes breathing difficult and reduces visibility. Wind may also cause spread of harmful bacteria and spores, causing diseases and allergy. Next we have water. Water is another essential requirement of life, and because of water we have life supported on earth, as all chemical reactions in every living cell takes place in solution of water. Water in living beings is about 70 to 90% of their body weight. Land plants absorb water from the soil and use it to make food during photosynthesis, as well as for transport of nutrients in their body. We need water for growing crops, in industry, for cooking, cleaning, drinking, bathing, and so on. We need to conserve water though, because out of 97% of water, only 2.7% of water is fresh, and out of that 2.7%, it's 0.01% which is free flowing and recyclable. Requirement of water varies from organism to organisms. Camels and cacti need less water because they store their water in their bodies and can go without water for many days in deserts. While plants like hydrophytes, water lily, living in aquatic habitat, have adaptations to stop water from entering their body. They have a waxy waterproof layer. Stomata are only on the upper surface, and they don't have proper vascular system of xylem to carry water, as they are living in water. Fishes have gills, fins to live in water because they take oxygen dissolved in water. Light is the next factor. Light intensity and its duration determines the activities of organisms. Plants carry out photosynthesis in light, as it affects the opening and closing of stomata. It also causes germination of seeds in plants. Their growth is affected by light, called as phototropism. In animals, light affects their activity. Animals active during daytime are called diurnal, like us, butterflies. Animals active during nighttime are called nocturnal, like owl, bat. You may have seen them flying in night time and hunting for their food. Some plants even bloom or open their leaves during daytime and close when the sun sets, like Portulaca, lotus, Bohenia. Temperature, the next factor, climatic factor, is the degree of hotness or coldness of a body measured by a thermometer. Most of the plants and animals enjoy warm temperatures, that is between 20-40 degrees Celsius they can survive. But there are some plants and animals which live only in cold temperatures, that is from 0 to 10 degrees Celsius or below 0. Like polar bears, penguins, pine trees are found in cold, snowbound, mountainous areas where the temperatures are low. Some animals are adapted to live in very high temperatures above 40 degrees Celsius to 50 degrees Celsius, like camels and cactuses living in dry, hot zones of deserts. They have certain adaptations to survive over there. But if plants or animals are not adapted to live in hot temperatures, then animals can go for summer sleep or estivation to avoid summer heat. As you know, in summers we don't find frogs, earthworms, snails, because they are deep in the soil or covered in some dark shady places and sleeping. While some animals which cannot survive in very low temperatures they become underground, and it is called winter sleep or hibernation. Like lizards, again frogs, snakes, they undergo hibernation. Then we move to humidity, the next climatic factor, the moisture content of the atmosphere existing as water vapor in air. It directly regulates the rate at which water evaporates on the body surface of land organisms by transpiration, sweating, excretion, etc. In plants, humidity plays important role. If the humidity is high, transpiration is low, and intercellular spaces inside leaves and stems become bigger. Vascular bundles do not develop poorly. Mechanical tissues are not formed properly. So those plants which live in at moisture conditions like mosses, lichens, epiphytes, they don't have proper mechanical tissues or vascular tissues. Then certain animals are also influenced by humidity, like housefly and locust produce more eggs during high humidity, and certain flies may die at high humidity, like Testes fly. So humidity plays an important role in the life of plants and animals. Now we have the edaphic factor of soil, an important natural resource formed by weathering of rocks, having decaying matter in it of plants and animals called as humus, which is very essential for growth of plants. So soil is an important natural resource. It provides anchorage to plants. Plants absorb water and minerals through soils only. All the plants and animals decompose and die in soil, and recycling of nutrients by decomposers occur in soil also. Then soil acts as a habitat for a number of soil organisms like earthworms, bacteria, centipedes, millipedes. Even some of the rabbits and foxes here make underground burrows like moles, rats, and therefore soil is very essential. We need soil to grow our crops. We need soil to make our bricks for building, cement, and so on. Many minerals are obtained by digging out soil, that is rocks under the soil. So that is why soil is important. That brings us to the end of this topic. We will continue further with a fresh topic in another online session. Thank you.